Good Thursday morning, everybody. Sean and Amedeus and myself here this morning. Boys, happy to see you all. And couple of things that it's Throwback Thursday, okay? We'll just call it Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday, bringing up two teams that, four franchises, two games that are throwbacks. One, for the ninth time, which is a record, the Cowboys and the 49ers will play each other in the National Football League playoffs. And for the top of the Premier League, it'll be Arsenal and Manchester United. So it's a Throwback Thursday, guys.
Yeah, look, I mean, United's a little wind came out of their sails. They're still unbeaten in 10 yesterday with the no penalty call and then the late goal. Arsenal's only loss this year is to Manchester United 3-1. So, Arsenal, they've been very good. But, by the time Manchester United will play Arsenal, United will have played City twice and Arsenal twice, and Arsenal will not have played Manchester City one time, which is a little bit ridiculous. I think I think Amedeus has talked about this a couple of times. The fact that they rescheduled that game for February 14th is a little bit ridiculous. It's the second half of the season and they haven't finished their first half of the season yet. I think you should be able. You should have to play all the teams once before you play them again. I was always the Premier League will throw these ties up where you play a team, right at like the 18th week of the first half, and then like the 21st week, and so you're playing twice in 3 weeks, which is cool. Right. It used to be like that with like Stoke City and Manchester United. We would always play Stoke like twice in like 3 weeks, or Wolves, like these. Right. It's like terrible places to go play. I was over there for a few. I remember one. It's one of my pictures I have. It's after the game. It's me with like a hat on in the end of I think it was the east end of the stadium, and it was just an awful game. De Gea made like two massive saves in like stoppage time, and we won 2-1. But like, I used to hate playing Stoke City. I hate playing Wolves. But Arsenal and Manchester City, the two title teams here, played yet. It's ridiculous. So, Arsenal still has a lot of work to do before they win. They're clearly the favorites at this point. When you look at the futures, they're now minus 125. They're finally, minus money to win it, which now might be the time to pile on Manchester City at plus money. But, that's interesting. And then obviously the 49ers and Dallas. I think San Francisco probably didn't want to play Dallas here, but I don't know, Amadeus. Is that your game you're kind of focusing on in the NFL? Is that the top game there? And a couple of the other ones are pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, I'm all over this 49ers team. I think they're the real deal. Like I said, it doesn't matter who's at quarterback for them. I also think Brock Purdy's just good. The offense seems to be better under Brock Purdy than they were with Jimmy G. So yeah, I'm not buying into this Dallas team.
Brock Purdy, and this is one of the things in college that was beneficial to him. He's got some mobility. Okay, Jimmy G didn't, and that's probably what is helping him. Is he can extend the plays. He's not going to run for 10 yards or anything like that, unless people are chasing him. But at the end of the day, his big thing has been keeping. He hasn't hurt the team, and that's the key. He plays offense. He doesn't hurt you. He knows when to throw the ball out of bounds. He knows when to not take a sack. He's just a very intuitive young quarterback, and I think that plays to the type of offense that Kyle likes to run in San Francisco.
Yeah, he seems to run that offense well, and obviously he's got all the weapons there. McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, George
Right.
Kittle. So it's got a lot to work with.
And the defense is not shabby either.
Exactly, right? It's like anything you can say about this Cowboys team, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, the double whammy and the running back there, Tony Pollard, the Dallas defense. The 49ers have all of that, but better.
The other game, there's a bunch of them, but we get that rematch of Cincinnati and Buffalo.
That 1/4 rematch.
Yep. It's.
This is still. If I was Cincinnati, I would be pissed that I have to go to Buffalo here because they were leading that game. I mean, I know the AFC is going to be neutral site, but why? Kansas City already won out. Like they should be neutral site. This is the game that should be a neutral site game.
Yeah, they should be playing this in Atlanta.
Yeah, this should be the neutral site game. This isn't fair to the Bengals. If I was the Bengals, I'd be like, look, man, we were going to beat them. I still don't understand why Kansas City has to go. Like Kansas City
didn't do anything.
Yeah,
it wasn't their fault.
Yeah, like if you're giving Buffalo the home field advantage because they have a better record than Cincinnati, then why aren't you giving Kansas City home field advantage because they have a better record than Buffalo? It doesn't make sense to me. Like this should be neutral site too. I don't know. If I was Cincinnati, I'd be coming into this game with a chip on my shoulder right here in this. Everybody in the world's on Buffalo in this game, by the way.
I don't understand it because I think Cincinnati's a better team.
Yeah, when the public is all on one team, the adage is go the other way.
I think Mattress Matt is not going to be running any games on this one. I think he's keeping his money out of it. But look, Cincinnati is the defending AFC champion. People might forget that, but it is there.
This line is 5.5. I don't understand it. I just don't understand the line.
5.5. What now?
The line is 5.5.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Bengals money line is plus 200. I would be all over that. The Jacksonville, Kansas City. That's Jacksonville's not going to win that game, but Kansas City doesn't cover a lot. The Cowboys, 49ers now 49ers -4, and the Eagles still at 7.5. So that I'm not. That to me is like, I mean,
the Eagles. Don't you think that's a little high for the Eagles?
I do. I think it's high. I think it'll come down a little bit before the game time. I think the Eagles. I don't think the Giants are gonna. Like, Eagles should win the game.
Right. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying.
It's a division game. The Giants won't be scared at all.
They know everything they do.
I would have been interested to see what the Vikings-Eagles line would have been because the Eagles smoked the Vikings in week 2. So, what would that line have been if this line is 7.5 and the Giants and Vikings were basically the same team with the different records? So I think it's too high, to be honest. If it's going to be over, a touchdown, I think that's probably you got it. That's Joe Wiz territory. He likes taking these underdogs in these games. I hate, if it's almost like you're saying this team is going to lose, but so the one team is better than the other team, but by not as much as what there's like. It's just weird. Like if you're hold on one second. I gotta. That's my hold on.
All right. Well, Sean leaves us for a moment, Amedeus. The thing that I'm wearing blue here today, but it has nothing to do with the New York Giants.
Shoot, Giants blue.
Yeah, my big blue. The Giants' defense is good. Okay, it's what's got them past everybody and into the playoffs. They played the Eagles twice. Okay, so there's nothing the Eagles are going to do that could surprise the Giants. So I would think, again, are the Eagles the favorite and should the Eagles win? Absolutely. Should they win by that much? Eesh, no. I mean, I just think you're giving a lot of points there.
Yeah, it's a weirder game for me because on the surface you look at it and you go divisional matchup. The Giants aren't really that bad. The Eagles weren't great near the end of the season. 7.5 is a lot of points. You're getting the touchdown. If anything, you'd think it would be a field goal game. So the Giants seem like the play. But then when you dive a little deeper into it, like 90% of the public is on the Giants. And that almost makes me think the Eagles, because you're getting this a similar situation to the Georgia Ohio State game,
right,
when everybody was on Georgia and the line was moving towards Ohio State. So everybody's been putting early money on the Giants for this game, yet the line has moved in the Eagles' favor. So,
which is weird, but it's not uncommon.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's a weirder game for me. I would think that the Eagles win it, but yeah, it's a tricky number for sure. Like, I would rather take the Bengals because I agree. I thought the Bengals were going to win that game. I think this should be on a neutral site. I totally agree with that because the Bengals were going to beat Buffalo in that game. They were driving down. They were about to make it like 14-3. There was no way the Bills were stopping them on that drive. So if I'm Cincinnati, I'm coming into Buffalo very pissed off this weekend. So
that was Joe Wiz on the phone. He was watching the show and wanted to chime in. He says he might join us tomorrow.
Okay.
To go over some picks. So he's all excited. He heard us talking about underdogs. As soon as I started talking about underdogs, the phone rang. And he says, "I can't believe you're talking. You're giving out my underdogs and stuff." So he says he's going to come on tomorrow to kind of promote some of this stuff. So
no, let him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's
let him come. Joe's always.
He's a huge.
I want to hear his thoughts on this Giants-Eagles game.
He's a huge underdog guy. Like I understand. Like I think like you're plus money guy. So you and him, like when I do my soccer parlays and stuff, I'm only taking the favorites. Like I'm betting like, hey Diggs, how's it What's up, G? So I'm trying to find like 3 heavy favorites and stuff like that to put them together. Like I know you guys are plus money guys. I'm trying to turn around a little bit. Like I've been trying to find some plus money soccer plays every once in a while here, but it's always
my old partner on the show, Chris King, when we would do Chris's Just Parlays show. Chris was always closer to you on that, Sean. He was always look for value, and value comes in those who are underappreciated. And so that was his theory of the case. And to be honest, more often than not, he won. Able to pull it out.
Here we go with Foxy. Yeah,
wrong Eagles.
Well deserved, except for the penalty shout that was denied. Well deserved.
Wrong Eagles, Foxy.
I think you could have predicted Foxy's response. I think
we'll start to get that Foxy when you guys have to do that. Midweek. That was a good point for Manchester United because they didn't play well in the midweek in a tough week between City and Arsenal and got a point out of it. So I'll take it. We're back. We're ahead of we're ahead now of the richest team in the world, Newcastle. This spunky Manchester United team with no money is now ahead of the richest team in the world and tied with the second richest team in the world. So we are punching above our weight right now. So it's a really good story. Next week, and by the way, I know we're kind of looking ahead here. I just next week you have the Carabao Cup semifinals on Tuesday and Wednesday, which is Southampton, Newcastle Tuesday, You have Lazio and AC Milan on Tuesday as well. You have the FA Cup, and then you have the FA Cup
You
on
even
Friday.
watched the Super Cup yesterday?
No, I just saw it was a blowout.
God, AC Milan got destroyed.
Yeah. But the next weekend is the FA Cup 4th round, and it starts on Friday. I mean, fantastic game to kick it off, Manchester City and Arsenal. So, they'll play a cup twice in a couple of weeks. That'll be interesting there to see, what goes on with that. But it's just a big week. Awful day.
There's a lot of decent games in the Premier League. There's a lot of decent games. I know that Bulu at 6:00 likes to talk about college tonight. Big college basketball game for number one in the Pacific. The Pac-12. Arizona State, surprising Arizona State, and UCLA playing each other in the desert. Arizona, and then UCLA gets Arizona on Saturday. So 2 big games in the Pac starting tonight. Highly recommend if you like to watch college basketball. That's going to be on Fox 1 tonight around 7:30 Eastern. 7:30 in LA, 10:30 here in the East.
There's also a game today.
Okay.
It's a CAA game, Colonial Athletic Association team, between a 19-1 team and a 1-17 team.
So Charleston
Charleston's Monmouth. So Monmouth has moved into the CAA from the MAC, and they're 1-17 right now. They're atrocious.
Not a good move.
Yes, probably not. Monmouth has lost. They beat Manhattan back on Sunday, December 4th, and since then they've lost 9 in a row.
Beat their old conference team.
Right.
Yes. They had to go back to bully their old team. And
Won that.
Charleston is a 21.5-point favorite on the road. But
a 21.5 favorite.
But
they're ranked, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they're 18. Yeah, they're big time. They're their only loss is to North Carolina.
Not a shabby loss.
High scoring game. Yeah. There's some Rutgers plays Michigan State. The most of the ranked teams are playing the first 3 games. Florida Atlantic is now ranked. Florida Atlantic in the Conference USA, they're 17-1. So all of a sudden, you got some of these teams popping up out of nowhere. Florida Atlantic 17-1, they're ranked.
That's wild. And FAU, they play. I don't know if you guys have ever been in that area, but they play in Boca. They have one of the most beautiful campuses you're ever going to want to see. Their football stadium. If you're on the east side of the football stadium, you can see the Atlantic Ocean. They're literally on the ocean. So in between classes, you can go out, hit the beach, come back. Not a bad thing. Good morning, Bill McDonald. What's up? Good morning, guys. Does the City bounce back today? What do you think about Harry Kane to score? He's at plus 238.
Yeah. Foxy, you could chime in here too, and Amadeus. I think Tottenham. Well, there's the El Sacico on the weekend with West Ham and Everton. Loser.
El Sacico. Is that
manager.
what we're calling it?
Yeah, they're calling it the El Sacico. The losing manager is out. Like West Ham, I think they've already said Moyes if he loses.
I think just fire both.
They really should, to be honest. I mean, hopefully it's a draw and they both get fired.
Who thinks of these names, man?
Someone
just looks at the game and goes, "Hey, El Sacico."
There are people out there with no lives.
And they just come up with this.
A lot of time and no lives. Amadeus.
Look, Harry at plus 250. They're not going to have a lot of the ball. I mean, they're going to play the games at City. They're going to play on the counter. He didn't touch the ball against Arsenal at home. I don't know how much he's going to touch the ball against City. It's probably worth it just because he's plus 250. If they get a penalty, he'll take it. I think City wins this easily. -1.5 is -110. I can't imagine this game is close. And Foxy, yeah, Marsh was that's a big win yesterday for Leeds, 5-2. He's got to follow it up this weekend though, and they play Sunday, I think.
Cardiff is my grandmother's team.
Okay.
Welsh.
Yeah. I haven't been to Cardiff. I've been to Swansea away.
Swansea?
But they play Brentford on Saturday. Huge, massive game for them. I think if they start turning it in the right direction, I think Marsh will stay. I mean, they built the team for him, so you just got to get some results. They haven't actually played terribly in some of these games. It's not like they're West Ham or Everton. They've actually, and I hate Leeds, but they've actually played. They haven't played poorly. So, but yeah, I don't know, Amedeus, what do you think about that City game today?
Yeah, it's interesting. Tottenham has won 4 of the last 5 matches against Man City, and it makes me very weary because I'm not taking Man City at -1.5 in this match with the way they've been playing lately, because it wasn't just their game against Manchester United. They've been like in a little slump for a while now, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is. I assume they're just out of form right now, but I'm not going to trust them -1.5 here. They should probably win at home, you'd think, but Tottenham's won 4 of the last 5, and Tottenham's got to be desperate for points here. Absolutely desperate. They're sliding down the table now. They're in 5th place, obviously, and that Manchester United has moved up. So Tottenham's got to make something happen in this match. But are you going to trust them +1.5 on the road against Manchester City?
Yeah.
Absolutely not, because it's going to be like 4-0 Man City by halftime. But it's just a matter of, I can't trust either team right now. But I think it's going to be a very important game to whoever wins it.
Yeah, I had a parlay. I had a parlay Leeds to win and under 3.5. I thought it was safe. They scored the first 45 seconds. Yeah, I never. Those cup games are tough with totals, just because you just never know. They could be cagey. They could be. Especially those replays, Leeds wanted no part of going to penalties and extra time there. So, but yeah, look, with this, I could see this game being 1-0. I could see it being 3-0. I think City's clearly the better team. I think there's a response. Pep was pissed about the call, the way the game played out and stuff. You got to think there's going to be a response there. Tottenham, I think is. I think there's a possibility Tottenham fades here, and they falls back down to, remember West Ham a couple years ago? It was last year maybe, or the Leicester teams, that 19 and 20 where they were there and then they just faded at the end. I think there's a possibility this Tottenham team.
That was last year.
Yeah, West Ham, last year, and then the Leicester team. With the 2 years in a row, they had a chance on the final day to make the Champions League, and Manchester United beat them in that COVID year, I think it was, and then the year after was they won the cup, but they finished 5th. So I think there's a chance Tottenham starts to slide the wrong way. Conte could sabotage this team. I mean, you've seen it with Tottenham. If he doesn't get his way, it could be ugly. You just don't know, because if City wins today, Tottenham is played 20 games with 33 points. Liverpool's only played 18. Brighton's only played 18. Some of these teams chasing them, and I don't expect Brighton to finish top 5 or 6, but they could finish somewhere 7th, 6th, 7th, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I don't think they're finishing 5th, but
they're a lovely surprise, but no.
Yeah, they're very good, but I'd like to see them a little more. I think maybe we'll see how they play out this second half, but I do expect Liverpool to maybe make a little run here. I know they're not very good, but they're still lurking there. And that the odds makers just still have them to, maybe sneak in there, finishing position. Liverpool's plus 200 for top 4. So, it's interesting. Now United is up to minus 455 for top 4. Newcastle's minus 150. Liverpool plus 200. Tottenham plus 350. Brighton and Chelsea plus 900. So to me, it's going to be a battle between, Manchester United, Newcastle, Liverpool. I hate this. There's Diggs. Hey, what's up, G? What's up? What's up, G? Let me take a chance on Kane. I was thinking Manchester City under 4.5. That's probably a decent play, although it could be 5-0. I think if United goes out, I want them to win the Europa League, obviously. Get in Champions League if they don't make top 4. But if they go out to Barcelona there and win the Carabao Cup or something, and just focus clearly on the Premier League the rest of the season, that's probably not the worst thing that ever happened for Manchester United. They can just play their strongest lineup there going forward, while Arsenal and some of these other teams are going to have to be playing. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, Tottenham are going to have to be playing their players twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. So we'll see.
Guys, just to change subject just for a moment, to the Australian Open. I don't know if you saw it, but Joker played last night, and he didn't look good. He had some issues with his leg, but he, of course, being Joker, was good enough to get by. That's going to be something I think to look to pay attention to. Is that injury that he's got going to cause him a problem as things move forward? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Nadal is out as well.
Yeah, Nadal was out, got bounced the other day.
Yeah, there's been some big upsets already. Last night, Casper Ruud lost to Jensen Brooksby, and Zverev also got kicked out by I forget who he was playing, but he won the first set and then lost 3 straight.
Jensen's been playing well.
Yeah, he's one of those. He plays well on grass. I've noticed as well.
Which is helpful, but
a lot of Americans left,
which is a surprise. We haven't had many American men who've been competitive as of late. Most of the time, it's been they've been one and done, or they gotten in there and they at the end they just can't make it happen.
Yeah, there's 8 here left, and Wolf and Momo play, and Paul and Brooksby play, so they'll get through. And Shelton's there in the same win against Popperin, who beat Fritz. So yeah, the Americans are pulling off some upsets. That's the good thing.
I think it was actually Michael Moe that beat Zverev.
Yeah, he did. He lost the first set in a tiebreaker, and then just 6-4, 6-3, 6-2. So, and then Wolf, beat a ranked Schwartzman in straight sets, 6-1, 6-4, 6-4. So the Americans, and then the Fritz, who was ranked highly number 8, he got beat by Popper. So that it's the underdogs that are coming through. I think
Popper has home advantage. I think, isn't he Australian?
Yeah. I think the good thing is, like, I like, Djokovic, and these guys have been so good, but like, I think sometimes you just need a new era where you have like wide open. Sometimes you're not sure who's going to be there in the final, and you're like, you need that kind of new era, and these guys are fighting to see who's going to take over, and maybe you have a bunch of players there. So
Well, to your point, and I think it's a very important one. We all like to see, when we talked about this yesterday or the day before, that you want to see the best, there, which is right. Okay, fine. We want the best. We want to see the best players, but we also want to see guys who are suddenly beginning the process of becoming one of those. I mean, Djokovic wasn't always the greatest tennis player, nor was, Roger Federer or Nadal, but they worked their way through it. And eventually, you become a fan of theirs. And I think that's crucial to especially these types of sports where it's a singular sport where you get, they're all independent contractors. You definitely want to see that ascension, if you will, of some of these good young players. And it doesn't matter, if it's tennis or golf, you want to see the good young players sneak in and give comeuppance from time to time to the quote unquote superstars.
Amedeus, Bill's asking about Monza against Juventus.
Yeah, what is that? Is it a Coppa Italia match?
I think so.
I mean, Juventus is only minus 163 at home, which really makes me question.
It's going to be 1-0. Let's be honest here. Juventus is going to score a goal and then they'll shut it up and then shut it down. And
yeah, you know what? Take the under minus 140. It's a little juiced, but like the line here is minus 163, which tells me Juventus isn't going to really play anybody because they should be a little more favored at home against one of the worst teams in Italy. So yeah, I would probably say the under in this one.
We just came across, I was just looking at the wire, just came across the wire that next year there's going to be 5 games in Europe, 3 games in UK and 2 games in Germany. So evidently the NFL seems to be there's 1 or 2 reasons you would do this. Okay, one, because it's kind of like a bowl game, right? You get paid to go there, so there's that. But the other would be to create some sort of audience. And I don't know whether is Europe really into American football.
England is. I know that. I go over there. It's big. I mean, I'm going to be over there for the Super Bowl, so it's going to be. In England it is. I know. In Germany a little bit. I think it's just getting bigger. That World League. They do have that league over there, so they do play. Right. So I just think it. Maybe it didn't work per se, but there's a lot of fans. So, it's interesting.
My theory on that, and I'd like you guys' take on it. My theory on why it didn't work is for the same reason some, soccer in some parts of this country doesn't work. It's not that you don't like football or that you don't like soccer. You just don't like bad soccer or bad football. Mm-hmm. And what they were getting with, the European League was not good football. It was bad football.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Got the highest. That would be like. That would be like Man U and Juventus coming here and playing. When they do, they fill up the buildings, right?
Yeah,
top level soccer. You want to see
they don't even play their starters. They do. So yeah, it's definitely
So if you're going to get paid to go and watch, get paid to make that trip, and we've already established that it's less time to go to London than it is to go to Seattle. Why wouldn't you want to go over and play? But let me ask you this, guys. Do you see within the next decade, we'll give it 10 years, the National Football League putting a team in Europe?
Well, they'll put the Super Bowl there in England. That stadium was built, Tottenham Stadium was built for the Super Bowl. So 100% it goes there in the next decade. I think maybe sooner than that. But, I don't know if they put a whole thing or they put a team or a franchise or a league or what. I mean, they could probably do something there.
I know before his passing, I spoke to David Stern, and David was telling me that his dream scenario would have been to have an NBA Europe. And perhaps have a team in London, in Paris, in Rome, that sort of thing. Because they do have a huge following of NBA in Europe.
Yeah.
So I guess the key is, can you replicate that with the National Football League? And I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, I think we might hear pretty soon. I think there's going to be with the advances in planes, that new jet that's going to take 2.5 hours to get across the water now, instead of not to get into all science, hypersonic and scramjet engines and stuff like this. But when they have these new jets now, and it's only taken 2.5 hours to get there, I don't think it's as much of a concern. But once again, when you travel to Seattle, but these teams aren't going over there, making 5-hour trips every week. So it's Bill's asking about Real Madrid and Villarreal. I would wait to see the lineups there. Real Madrid hasn't been playing great, but I'd wait to see the lineups. Villarreal might play some backups as well. So I have to I got to go to work, so I just wanted to say good luck with everything, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. So, but Jim and Amedeus are going to hold down the fort.
We'll do our best.
All right.
All right. Be safe and
Have a good one.
Tomorrow. So, meanwhile, as Sean goes off into the day, and we were talking about the Joker having some issues on the ladies' side. That's a wide open field.
Yeah, there's been some interesting ones too. I think the big one yesterday was Kudermetova lost to. I keep forgetting who these players are playing until I see the name, but I know she lost, which was a bit of an upset there. I'm looking at the field here for the outrights, and it's interesting who's left.
Well, the Williams sisters are gone. Sharapova's gone. The stars that we have seen over the years have decided to move on. So we do have a wide open and actually very entertaining situation with regard to women's tennis right now.
Yeah, and as usual, there's a lot of American women that are doing well. Can't say the same for the men's side, but but the women, you look at the top 5 favorite
U.S. soccer teams.
Pretty much. So same with Canada.
The women's side carries us. The men are basically
pretty much. And if you look at the top 5 here, you have Pegula and Goff as two of the top 5 favorites to win the entire tournament. And obviously we know Pegula is just playing for fun at this point. Right. She doesn't need the money, but I mean, she's a really good player. I like to bet on her personally. Goff is another one who's I've been betting on her since she was like 16. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're like the 16-year-old phenom, right? You're already 5 years into your career and you're younger than me.
Right.
But
and you see that in the women's side. You don't see that as much in the men's side.
Yeah, I will say with Goff though,
until they're in their 20s.
Yeah. Really, and then you got Djokovic, who's like an all-star after the age of 30. Mm-hmm. So, but Goff, I will say, she tends to be a bit better on clay. I've noticed. So this might not be her tournament to go all the way, but she's always a player to watch out for. And if she doesn't win this one, she'll be a threat in the French Open for sure, because that'll be her stomping grounds, the clay there.
I remember. Just to show how old I am. I remember doing the Boca tournament. What are they called? It was the Lipton. It was the one in Miami where there were 2 weeks. There's a 2-week tournament in the U.S. that isn't a major, and I remember doing the opening round, and that was the round where Sharapova had made the tournament as a qualifier at age 12. And so you're sitting there going, here's a nice young, lady who seems to be playing, outstanding tennis at the age of 12. 8 years later, she was well, I don't even think it took her 8 years to get to number one. But in those junior tennis tournaments, you start to see these, more women than you do see guys. I mean, some of the guys that have played in those, younger tournaments, you will see them eventually, but you don't see them as quickly as you see the women. I mean, it's the joke used to be, if you're a woman tennis player playing over 25, you're on the back half of your career. And I mean, when Chris Everett got in, she was 16. 16 seems to be 15, 16 seems to be at in a women's game, kind of when you start your career.
Yeah, well, look at Ashley Barty. She's 3 years younger than me, and she's already retired.
Right.
So that's the thing, you win your tournament, and then nobody wants to get stabbed in the shoulder. I guess nobody wants to play long enough. Yeah, no, my mom's big into tennis. She tells me all the stories. She used to go down and watch the ATP Toronto, the WTA Toronto, whenever it comes here, because they switch every year. It's they send the women to Montreal and the men come to Toronto, and then the next year it's the reverse. Right. The men go to Montreal and the women come here. So
is it the Rogers Cup now?
Yeah, it's called the Rogers Cup now. But I'm gonna have to go catch one myself. I don't think I've been there, but I know my mom's big into it. She's been watching tennis for a while since she was my age, pretty much. Okay. So gonna have to go catch maybe this year when they come to Toronto. I'd rather see the women, if I'm being honest. I think that's why I was gonna go last year, but it was the men that were in Toronto, and I was like, I don't want to watch it.
If you want to go, and I'm putting this out there for anybody who's a tennis fan or golf for that matter. If you want to go see competitive, entertaining tennis or golf, go to the women's tournaments. They are phenomenal. They are competitive. You never know who's going to win. Even when Venus and Serena were playing, they had their comeuppance at times. And you get to see tournaments on the lesser courts, like they're not on the center court. You can see tournaments being played on the outer courts. And if you're just a tennis fan, it's fun because you get to see these women play up close, and you get to see how amazing. It's hard to explain to people what the difference between watching someone on television and watching somebody in person with regard specifically to tennis and golf. Because in tennis, you when you're up close and personal, you see the spin on the ball, right? So when the ball goes over the net and you're wondering, how did they miss that ball? Well, if you're watching it close, you see there was back spin on it, there's front spin on it, there's go sideways. It's, there's a lot of movement to the ball that you don't see on television that you do see in person. And it's just fun. So absolutely.
Yeah, the camera angles are deceiving, and it's the same in soccer. Sometimes a guy will take a shot and you're like, oh, and then you see the replay and you're like, oh my God, he was 5 feet to the right. Wasn't anywhere near the net.
You don't get to, I know back in the day when they tried that 3D television stuff for the concept of, that was going to be done. I remember my brother had done one of the golf tournaments, where they did it in 3D. There's probably like 10 televisions in the entire country that did it 3D. But I asked him, how was it? He goes, I got nauseous from watching when he's directing, seeing the ball go through the air and then landing. It's like, well, wait a minute. This is too disconcerting. So yeah, just like you said, in the camera angle, specifically in golf, 100%, because you're looking at the green, right? And look at the green and then miss a putt, and you're like, how's it? It's a 5-foot putt. Come on, he's a world champion. You should be able to do that. And then you're in person, right? And you see this green is like, something out of a putt course, and you're sitting there going, how the hell did he even get that close?
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like the greens at Augusta, for example, you got the guy aiming like literally to take basically a 90-degree turn with the ball, and then you watch it go and do it, and you're sitting there watching on TV like, how is the ball doing that? Why is he aiming so far away from the hole?
Right.
And then, yeah, you go in person and you see the greens are sloped
Yeah.
insanely.
Mhm. They're also fast.
Yeah, they are.
That's the difference. I mean, they cut the grass very, very low. And so all of a sudden, you can take a ball. And I've been on, luckily, some of the greatest courses out there. You take a ball on any green and just roll it with your hand. Okay. And watch how many different times that ball changes direction. And you're sitting there going, holy crap, because I wasn't a great sports person at any particular thing, but I had a 77 handicap in golf. And I was not I'm 5'6", 135 pounds. So trust me, driving was not my thing.
I don't think it's anybody's thing.
I was the irons and putter guy. And the concept of learning how to putt the ball and making it go where you want it to this very day, I still don't have an idea, but good enough I can get it there. But I will say, watching golf and tennis in person is just it's a treat. If you're a fan, it's a treat, and it's something you should do if you get a chance to do it. And I will say, as I said before, with the women, the LPGA Tour is fantastic in so much as on the PGA Tour, it's hard to get up close and really see stuff, right? Because you have to go early. If you go on Wednesday, Thursday, you're good. Wednesday's a practice day. Thursday would be the first day of the tournament. You can kind of wander around and
or go on a rainy day.
Yeah, you can see people up close. On Saturday and Sunday, you're 7, 8, 10 rows deep. If you're lucky, unless you're one of those people who finds finds a hole and says, okay, I'm going to stay here and watch the entire tournament, and I'm never leaving this.
Shows up at 6 a.m. and plants the chair.
Right. And I remember at Sawgrass, the 17 at Sawgrass, that was where everybody did that. That's the island hole that everybody knows when they see it on television. It's the island hole. And you could get there at 4 o'clock in the morning, you'd still have trouble getting, a place. And people will sit there and watch it from that part. My brother played the course. I never did. My brother played the course and lost 12 balls just trying to.
Oh, wow.
Just shooting at the green. And I said, me, if I would have been playing, I'd have tried it once. Okay. All right, it's fine. I'll take a mulligan. I'll do it one more time. If I plunked it twice, I'm taking a drop.
Exactly.
It's like I'm not going to sit here and tin cup my way through this, this show. But it's 100%. That's it's going to be interesting.
I'm the same way. My buddy's even worse. It's like he'll take one bad shot because he's not very good, and then he'll just be like, "All right, I'll drop it where yours are. Let's go."
Well, that's not the concept of how you play.
No, I know. He's just there for fun, right? So I'll take my shot, and he'll be like, or when we get to a difficult hole like that, he looks at me and he goes, "You better hit a good one, because I'm going in the water. I'm telling you right now, I'm going in the water."
Well, it's he's the you don't want to look. You want to play and enjoy it. You're not going to learn anything if you don't hit the ball. I mean,
well, his version of enjoyment is, just going out there, having a few drinks, enjoying the course with his buddies.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough. I know my brother, I have two brothers. My brother George has been he's won a number of club titles and also tournaments that they've played. Specifically best ball. So maybe that's what you need to do. You need to get your buddy to play best ball with you and say, okay, that way at least he'll learn something. He's got to hit your shot. That doesn't help you, Amedeus, the next shot, but
it's okay.
But hit the best shot. So what was your best day? What was your most fun on a golf course?
It's tough to say. I'm the type where I need to play well to have a good time, because I'm actually pretty decent at the sport.
Right.
But yeah, like
you can't just go out there and have fun. You just gotta.
I'm not great, but my idea of a good day is breaking 90 at least. So
That's not bad.
yeah, so that's what I mean, right? Like I'm in between. I'm not no professional. It's hard for me to break 80, but if I shoot over 90, then I'm pissed off.
Well, you take 90, right? Anywhere between, anything south of 100 is not a bad score.
Yeah, no, 100%. But just like I've been improving my game because I've been playing really since I was like the youngest. Like as young as you could play, I had one of those little like Callaway sets where it was just like the driver, the 3 irons, and the putter, right? So this is what I mean. I've been playing so long, so I look at it like if I've been playing 20 years. And I like shooting 90s is what I did, or shooting under 100 but over 90 is what I did like 5 to 8 years ago. So if I'm doing that now, then to me it's like I'm just going backwards instead of making progress. Yeah, so it's all about improvement for me.
Right? But golf, like tennis, like any other sport, it's all repetition. It's how many times can you play to get better at it.
Exactly.
And so it takes a little while to get that done. And then from a betting standpoint, it used to be Tiger versus the field. And now you've got a situation where there's a lot better, deeper, I should say, well of fantastic golfers out there that on any given week, you're not sure who's going to win. I did see yesterday, for those of you who are live golf fans, all 7 of you, that they got a TV contract with the CW here in the United States. And when I say a contract, it means they bought the time. The CW actually will let them do it, let them air it, because they were on YouTube prior to that. So we'll see how that all plays out. I'm not a big fan of the live golf tour, but I can understand how if somebody offers you $100 million, it's a little difficult to turn that down. Especially when you, and I think people forget this, Amedeus, golf and tennis. You don't win, you don't get paid unless you go out and win. Okay. So, it's not a team sport. This is one of those things where you have a bad day, it can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, not me. I've never played in a golf tournament to that extent, but if you're a professional golfer, that's an amazing situation, and it's the same way.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying, like Pegula never really has the stress on her because your dad owns the Buffalo Bills. You don't need the money. You're not playing for the money. You're playing for personal accolades. So really, she doesn't need to go out. Like a lot of tennis players play with the mentality where I just need to get to the quarterfinal, and that's enough money to get me by and get to the next tournament or whatever. But no, Pegula should be playing like stress-free. It should all be about I'm going to the finals and I'm winning this tournament. I don't need there's none of this semifinal stuff. I don't need.
I'm going to throw out a Canadian name of a young lady who I got to know and got to spend a lot of time with, who I think was a fantastic tennis player in her day, and that's Carlene Bassett. And Carlene's father, of course, was John Bassett, the late John Bassett, who owned the Carling Brewing Company, which is a big beer company in Canada. And so, to your point, Carling was a spectacular tennis player, but she didn't have to be. I mean, she didn't have to worry about winning because she was still going to get home to a mansion and drive her BMW to the mansion. So one way or another, but she played. She made many tournaments where she was very competitive and finished in top, 3 or 4, and was year in and year out very, very good at what she did. So nothing wrong with that. I mean, hey,
and all I'm saying is, sometimes it just helps to not have that extra stress on you, right?
The great Lee Trevino line was when he had won, I forget, might have been a PGA championship. They said, you made a putt on the 17th green, which was a spectacular putt. Was the pressure on? And Trevino came back with this line that if I missed that putt, I still would have made $250,000. He said, a putt for pressure. He goes, he's back in the day when I was playing for a $5 Nassau, right? And he said, and I got $2 in my pocket. If you miss that putt, you don't have enough money to pay to cover your bet. And so that's the pressure when you don't have the money, was basically Trevino's theory of the case. And, you know, the fact that, okay, maybe I missed that putt, but if I miss that putt, I still get paid $250,000. Put things in perspective. You know, it's one of those kind of situations. But, you know, it is what it is.
And you know what? Had he needed the money in that situation,
Right.
I bet it would have been
he made that putt 100%.
like it would have been a lot different. It would have been like, oh, hands are shaking, you're sweating there, like, oh my God.
Here's a guy, and for those of you who don't know who Trevino is, you should read him. There's a number of books out there about him. We used to hustle guys playing golf with a broomstick. Get this, a broomstick that was forged into a Dr. Pepper bottle. That was his putter, and he would putt with that. He'd use all the other clubs to get him there. But
Wait,
once
was the bottle the club head or the hand?
Right, that was
the grip.
I actually saw it. I got to touch it. I never got to putt with it. But he putted with the glass bottle part.
I thought that was the handle, if I'm being honest.
You would think so, right? But then again, think about, you know, a stick on a broomstick might be that, what, maybe you know, an inch or so across. That would have been very difficult to putt.
That's actually hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, but he's not hitting the ball hard. I mean, so he doesn't have to worry about whacking it. He's worrying about using that glass part to put the ball in the hole. Yeah. So he used to hustle people, you know, for hundreds of dollars playing with that. So you can imagine when he's got his own full supplement of clubs that he was pretty decent.
People see this janky putter and they're like, "Oh, I could definitely win $100 off this guy. You're putting with that."
I got him. Remember the potato masher putters? Those ones that were like this fat. I mean, they were monsters.
Oh, my buddy, the same one that I was talking about. He loves those big heads with like the 2 points on them where you get like stabbed.
Did you explain to him that it doesn't matter because the sweet spot of that putter is still in the middle of the putter?
Yeah, and then I have an uncle that's all about those belly putters.
What?
And I'm like, how are you, like, yeah, you know, the ones that like go up to like your chest.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I'm like, how do you guys hit with
Looks
these?
Like a Swiffer. Like you're gonna sweep something.
Yeah, like I have an Odyssey putter, and it's one of those just like little half moon where you can scoop the ball up.
Right. You could use it for wedge to get out of the sand trap.
Exactly, right? So this, I don't understand. My friends are weird. I have one that even uses, I have one of those like Pittsburgh Penguin hockey stick putters.
Okay.
That they were huge here like years ago. I bought one just as like kind of like a souvenir type thing because they had a bunch of different hockey teams. This is back when, you know, Sidney Crosby was the big cheese around here. So I obviously was going to get the Penguins one, but yeah, it's just a hockey stick. It's just like a steel kind of hockey stick, and it's all smooth, and then that's it. It's two-sided too. So if you're right-handed or left-handed, you can use either side. And I would always keep it on me because it was good to have because I'm left-handed, and only like 4% of golfers in the world are left-handed. So when my friends needed a putter, I had a right-handed putter on me because it could shoot both ways. Because it was like flat on both sides.
Just as we're getting close to wrapping it up, I've never ever used or seen you. I mean, I've seen them obviously, but I've never played with somebody who uses a belly putter at all. How does it even work?
It's honestly, and they live by it too, about how accurate it is. So basically there's like 2 parts of the grip, because there's like a grip there, and then there's actually a part where there's no grip at all, and then a longer grip, and it goes up to your chest, but you're supposed to like bend over and somehow have like the tip like right there, and you're supposed to be like bent over, and your hands are like that, and it's kind of like a pendulum swing almost. It's the weirdest thing. I tried using it.
How do you get a feel? You know, putting's all, in my mind anyway, putting's all touch.
It is.
How do you get a feel if the thing is like, if you're using both hands as a pendulum?
Couldn't tell you. It works for him. Doesn't work for me. I don't know.
I think on the seniors tour, I saw Bernard Langer use something that looks a lot like that.
I've seen them on the tour, so like I know they're not popular, obviously, but I know professionals do use them from time to time. So, like, I'm not knocking them. It's just weird to me. It's a weird putter to me. I can
make it work for you. Fine, good on you. You know, hey, if Lee Trevino can still win with a soda bottle and a stick, good on him. However you can get the ball in the hole, that's good with me. But I'm so, touch is so important to me in putting. I can't see how that thing works, because it's so, your hands are so far away from the, I mean, if it were up to me, I'd put my hands like an inch away from the from the surface of the putter. I mean, just so I could really get a feel for it.
Use it like a slap shot. Just
exactly.
Guide it in.
Get your hand all the way down. I mean, I can do that. So your hockey puck, your hockey stick idea to me is rather, that sounds good. But when your hands are so far away from the actual head of the club, it's just weird to me. But that's just me. I mean,
it makes no sense to me, but I'm like you. I need the feel, because I'm the kind of guy where I don't like to chip. Really, chipping's not my strong suit. So I've putted it 50 yards out on the fairway before. Like I'm not afraid to just whack it with the putter. I'm really not. It gives me a more accurate shot, believe it or not, than if I were to hit a chip shot fat and then I'm on the other side of the green. It's easier for me to control and just give a little more power. Maybe not 50 yards out. I have a 64 degree for that. Wonkiest club in the game. I don't know if you've ever used a 64 degree.
I've seen it, but I've never used it.
Yeah, I always get the response like, why the hell do you need that club? And I'm like, because when I'm in the rough and there's just a bunker between me and the green, guess what? A full swing with the 64 gives me right up and down over the bunker onto the green.
Well, it's loft. I mean, that's the beauty of the club, is it's loft. I grew up playing golf in Florida, so you were in sand all your life. I mean, either sand or near water.
That rough isn't kind either. It's a lot thicker.
No, it's that Bermuda grass, which the ball never seems to set up, and it always just like drops down like it has a weight on it.
I know. And then when you run your iron through the grass, like grabs the club. You can't even get out of it.
You're like you might as well hit it with a weed whacker, because the ball's not coming out, or if it does, it's coming straight up and then landing somewhere, hopefully on a surface that you can get from.
Yeah, we play on the Kentucky Blue up here, so it's like I always wondered. I was like, I can hit my fairway wood out of the rough. What do you mean rough is hard to hit out of? Well,
oh man, you know what?
Play in another place.
I've never been somebody who can play, and I've always had a great respect. I've never had any success with fairway woods at all. I might as well just, as a matter of fact, I don't think, if I were to go and look at the clubs in my bag, I don't think I have, other than a 3-wood and a driver, I don't think I even have any woods anymore. I mean, I've got every wedge and every iron that you can have, but I got nothing when it comes to woods, because I just can't. I've seen people do it really well, not me, but I have to use an iron. I can't.
It's weird for me, because I used to love my fairway woods when I was like really young. And then I went through a good like 5 or more year period of my life where I couldn't hit a 3-wood and a 5-wood if my life depended on it. I could hit my hybrids fine, but I couldn't hit the woods. And actually just in the last 2 years now, I've kind of like retaught myself the proper way to hit the woods. And now I can hit them great, but I can't hit my driver anymore. So I have to use 3-wood off the tee now.
Well, we again, your dad loved him. I mean, look, he's a character, and the golf and tennis need those kind of guys. They need the characters.
The John McEnroes, the ones that are
Right.
yelling at the umps, go get your supervisor.
Right.
We're going to do this right here, right now.
Okay.
None of this filing the paperwork after I've already
kidding me?
lost, all right?
Are you kidding me? I want a chair opinion. It's like the chair's sitting right there, Jack. Mac, it's not going to change. Okay, I'm telling you right now. He's not going to overrule the he's not going to rule the line judge. Might as well just take it now, because it's going to happen. Let's see, Foxy and is talking about the Bills Titans London game. I'll have to come back to watch that, no doubt. And you're running it. That's true. We probably would. It's one of those, but yeah, that's and the well, don't get me started on the evolution of golf clubs. To the metal that I mean, look, you can. People say, well, you can drive the ball, 100 yards more with this. Like, yeah, I can hit it 100 yards further out of bounds than I would have had I, used my normal set of clubs. But yeah, I've got a bunch of old clubs, but that's just that's what I'm comfortable with.
For me, it's I see all these clubs, they're all talking about like these tungsten irons, and I'm like, tungsten is for drill bits. It has heat resistance. Why are we putting it in our golf clubs? Like, what purpose could that possibly serve?
Well, the only thing I jokingly, somebody asked me about that, and I said the only thing it does, it keeps you from breaking the club over your leg.
Wrapping it around a tree.
You'll break your leg first. It's not going to happen. So forget.
Good luck wrapping this iron around a tree. Have fun.
You'll break your wrists if you try to wrap that iron around a tree. That not only is it not going to happen, you'll kill yourself. And fortunately, I was not among people who threw clubs a lot, so that was always good. They always tried to wrap around a tree or anything like that.
Yeah.
They took it out on the golf ball more than they took it out on the others. But anyway.
I've never broken a club, but that friend I keep talking about is notorious for leaving his irons on the green.
I played with a guy one time who got mad, and he didn't mean to, but when he swung the club after he had already hit the ball, it went out of his hands. It slipped out of his hands, and it spun, and it landed in a pond. And he had just bought that club. And so it wasn't, I can assure you, he didn't mean to be throwing it. And it almost was to the point where he said, I'm going to go out there and try to dive in and see if I can swim out and get the club. And I said, first of all, you're not allowed to do that. And second of all, you're not, it's going to go down. Okay. So forget it. You screwed up and you missed it. And you don't, it's what happens when you can't control your temper. It's one of those things. But yeah, hey, same kind of guys who break their rackets on the court. It's like take a racket, slam it down, and then I love the racket abuse. That's 2 points for racket abuse. It's like racket abuse. It's like, really? Okay. It's like, it is what it is, boys and girls.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we get out of here? Because we've shared our war stories on golf with people. Feel free to share yours with us. I can assure you, we're not the only ones that have these tales to tell. But they're still in Hawaii, so there'll be primetime golf this weekend.
Oh yeah.
So that's always fun to be able to sit back on an evening and watch a little golf from Hawaii, where for whatever reason it seems like the wind is always blowing. It's one of those things where you watch the guys, pants going in the wind. It's like, okay, this is cool.
It's that ocean breeze.
I guess. Never played in Hawaii, so I wouldn't know. But it is. It's going to be fun, and tonight's, as I said before, college basketball. Check out UCLA and Arizona State. ASU is right now on Joe Lizardi's first 4 in to the tournament. So he's not buying ASU as a long-term investment here. he thinks that what they've done so far is kind of like an aberration. But when you play UCLA tonight, you're going to find out if they beat UCLA. I'm pretty sure Joe and the rest of the people who are doubting the Aztecs will have to give second consideration to them. But we'll see. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Nope.
Just don't use a damn belly putter. Okay, that's Amedeus's concept is if you need a belly putter, don't play golf. You know, get yourself a.
I just can't wrap my head around it.
Get yourself, the PGA Tour on PS5 and have at it. Enjoy yourself. And,
exactly.
Save money that way and grief as well. So, I mean,
that game's not any better. Trust me.
No. What you need to do is get yourself a book from my buddy John Feinstein. It's a great book. It's called, A Long Walk on a Bad Day. So it's actually stole that from Samuel Clemens. So, but nevertheless, it was entertaining. All right, boys and girls, for Amedeus, I'm Jim, and we'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern time. When we'll break down a lot of stuff. We got a lot of interesting games, both soccer and NFL. So join us. We're hoping to have Rob Motti. Rob's a buddy who is the lead writer for Associated Press on the NFL beat. And Robbie few people can break things down on the NFL as well as Rob can. So, and then I guess Joe Wiz, who was watching the show, who hit the hotline and decided to call Sean, might join us tomorrow too, to make sure that we don't give people bad advice, which is, we're all for not giving people bad advice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, we thought we'd give you good advice, but if Joe is a little concerning of it, hey, we're always willing to take, his help.
I heard underdogs, and it was like a trigger for him.
Yeah, I know. So if you're still listening, Joe, you can come on for the next couple seconds. We'll pop in. But anyway, have a great day. Stay warm, stay dry, and we will see you tomorrow.